Have you ever looked at your life and felt that you are not good enough? Maybe you compare yourself to successful people and think you are too weak. Maybe you have made mistakes in the past and still regret them. Maybe you see your flaws, your failures, your bad habits and wonder why you are not perfect like others seem to be. Today, social media makes this problem even worse. People show their best moments, their achievements, their happiness, and their success, but they hide their struggles, fears, failures, and weaknesses. As a result, many people spend their lives trying to become perfect. They are afraid of making mistakes. They are afraid of showing their weaknesses. They are afraid that others will judge them. But what if perfection is not the answer? What if your imperfections are not your biggest weakness, but your greatest strength? My name is Ion, and this story will teach you a powerful lesson about life, self-acceptance, and why no one is perfect. Many years ago, there was a kingdom famous for its art and culture. People from distant lands visited the kingdom to admire its beautiful buildings, paintings, and sculptures. The king of that kingdom loved art more than anything. He believed that great art could teach great lessons. One day, after ruling for many years, the king decided to organize a grand competition. He announced that every artist in the kingdom was invited to create a statue. But there was one condition. The statue had to represent the greatest human being. The winner would receive a large reward, respect throughout the kingdom, and a special place in the royal palace. The news spread everywhere. Immediately, artists began working. Some spent weeks searching for the finest stone. Others hired assistants and invested all their savings into the project. Everyone wanted to create the perfect statue. Months passed. Finally, the day of judgment arrived. The palace courtyard was filled with people. Dozens of statues stood proudly under the sunlight. One statue showed a fearless warrior with a perfect body. Another showed a wise scholar with flawless features. Some statues were so detailed that they looked almost alive. The crowd was amazed. People whispered to each other, "This one will win. No, that one is perfect. The king will surely choose the most beautiful statue." Then a man arrived carrying a covered statue. He was an older sculptor who lived in a small village. Unlike the other artists, he was not famous. Many people did not even know his name. When his turn came, he removed the cloth covering his statue. The crowd immediately began laughing. A visible crack ran across the statue's chest. The sculpture itself was beautiful, but the crack could easily be seen. Some people shook their heads. Others laughed loudly. One artist said, "You spent months making this, and you could not even fix the crack?" Another said, "This competition is about greatness, not mistakes." The crowd continued laughing. The old sculptor remained calm. He did not defend himself. He simply waited. The king walked around every statue carefully. He examined every detail. Finally, he stopped in front of the cracked statue. The king looked at the sculptor and asked, "Why did you leave this crack?" The courtyard became silent. Everyone wanted to hear the answer. The old sculptor smiled gently. Then he said, "Because no human being is perfect." People looked confused. The sculptor continued, "The competition was to create the greatest human being. But greatness does not come from perfection." He pointed toward the crack. "This crack represents every mistake, every failure, every weakness, every fear, and every scar that people carry throughout life." The crowd listened carefully. He continued, "A warrior may be brave, but he still feels fear. A king may be powerful, but he still makes mistakes. A scholar may be intelligent, but he still has doubts. A successful person may look strong, but they have struggles nobody sees. If I create a perfect statue, I create a fantasy. But if I create a statue with imperfections, I create reality." The entire courtyard became silent. For the first time, people stopped looking at the crack as a flaw. They began looking at it as part of the story. The sculptor continued, "People do not connect with perfection. They connect with truth. They connect with struggle. They connect with someone who falls and rises again. The king stood quietly for a moment. Then he smiled. Finally, he announced the winner, to everyone's surprise. He chose the cracked statue. The crowd was shocked. Some artists protested. One artist stepped forward and said, "How can a damaged statue defeat all these perfect sculptures?" The king replied with wisdom, "Because these statues show what people wish they were." Then he pointed at the cracked statue. "But this one shows what people truly are." The king continued, "Every person in this kingdom has made mistakes. Every person has weaknesses. Every person has failed at something. This statue reminds us that greatness is not about having no flaws. It is about moving forward despite them." The crowd became silent once again. This time nobody laughed. They understood. The crack was not the statue's weakness. It was its most meaningful part. Years later, visitors continued coming to see the famous statue. Many people stood before it and reflected on their own lives. Some were struggling with failure. Some carried guilt from past mistakes. Some felt insecure about their weaknesses. But whenever they saw the crack, they remembered one important truth. No one is perfect, and nobody needs to be. The strongest people are not those who never fail. They are those who continue despite failure. The bravest people are not those without fear. They are those who act despite fear. The wisest people are not those who know everything. They are those who keep learning. Perfection is impossible. Growth is possible. And growth matters far more. My friend, this story teaches a lesson that many people spend their entire lives trying to learn. Stop fighting every flaw inside yourself. Stop believing that you must become perfect before you deserve happiness, success, or respect. Work on your weaknesses. Improve yourself every day. Learn from your mistakes. But never hate yourself because you are imperfect. Every successful person you admired has flaws. Every strong person has weaknesses. Every confident person has insecurities. The difference is, they do not let those imperfections stop them. Remember this: your mistakes do not define you. Your failures do not define you. Your scars do not define you. What defines you is your decision to keep moving forward. If this story helped you see yourself differently, share it with someone who constantly feels they are not good enough. And if you want more motivational stories that help you improve your English, understand life lessons, and build a stronger mindset, make sure to subscribe, because sometimes the most powerful lesson in life is realizing that you were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to be real.